thank you, Maria. I do see in the chat there. I looked at some of the chat. So let me say this. Some people seem to be a bit overwhelmed. Don't get overwhelmed. One of the things that when we looked at, remember that we started with smaller mind maps. So I'm going to show you my screen again so that you can see when we look at mind mapping, what we're really wanting to do is start small. Don't freak out. We just want to start small. We don't want to get freaked out. I just want you to be aware that even something this small can work for you. So it doesn't have to be super elaborate. It doesn't have to be huge. Those overall mind maps for steampunk, for romance, for fantasy, sci-fi, all of those things, those really are just a guide to help you move forward. So don't panic. You can always start small, and the mind maps within the handout are small. If you're going to be doing a series, I would recommend really mind mapping this series first. So I really want you to think about what does it entail for science fiction, what does steampunk entail, and make sure that you do the research so that you get all of the pieces, because you're going to use all those pieces, especially if you write a series. Mystery, same way, and historical has its own preconceived set of ideas and circumstances that happen. So a lot of times you want to make sure that you're doing all that work up front, and then you can use it later. So I hope that, I apologize if I overwhelmed anybody, but I just wanted you to get a sense of how this really works. Give me one sec. Sorry, I was getting some feedback. I wanted to take care of that. Okay, so does anybody have any questions from there? Can chat to all panelists and attendees. You were right. Okay. So now what I want to do is I'm actually going to throw you, or we're going to actually go into the program. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to actually use these programs for mind mapping. So the first one that I'm going to show you actually is called Free Mind. I'm going to open it. Can everybody see that okay? I can't see my chat because now I'm sharing the screen. So, oh, here we go.
Yes, it's showing.
Okay, great. So this is a program called Free Mind. It's free. I don't know that they're updating anymore, but it's a free program, super easy to use for me. I do a lot of flow charting and pseudocoding, and so it's a little easier for me to do this, but I think you guys will get the hang of this super, super quick. And so what I've done is I've opened a mind map. So here's what I did was I took Blood Honor, and this is the mind map that you saw for Blood Honor that I showed in the PowerPoint presentation. So this is all laid out, and one of the nice things that this does is allows you to go through here and collapse everything. You can't collapse these pieces off the main topic here, Blood Honor, but if you go through and click on these, anytime you see a little ball, it expands that topic. So this is Blood Honor. And then I did a character sheet. This will be in your handout. So it's a basic character sheet that has internal struggles, external stakes, wants, scenes that appear in the book, motivations. I'm happy to send this to you as well. So if you want this Free Mind document, I'm happy to send that to you as well. So just let me know and I will send it to you. And then the next thing is, here's your novel. I put together a little set of sheets. Again, this one's in your handout for you to go in and pencil in some things. themes, external conflict. You could put internal down here. We've got scenes and characters. So kind of just some rough kind of layouts for you to do so that you can start. So mind map starts you, if we were just to say, I want a new mind map, I'm not getting it because my screen is in the way, it would give you this. And the easiest thing to do, if I click on this side and I right mouse click, it's going to give me new child mode. So I'm just going to click here. Whoops, I think that's right. If I click off and if I click off, as long as that node is highlighted, I hit enter, and it'll ask me if I want to delete that node. So I start off with this, let's just start off with this node right here. And there are some things, let's say in my new novel that I want to put out there. I want to start with some ideas, some motivations, some themes. Let's say I'm on a revenge kick right now. So let's just say, we're going to say revenge. Once I have that node set up and it's gray like that, all I need to do is hit enter and it will give me another child node. And in this case, I'm going to put reprisal, hit enter again, and it's going to start giving me more nodes, okay? I'm going to say punishment, I guess I should run this now, punishment, and I hit this. So I'm starting to put together my themes. I want to start looking for ideas. So I can add a child mode here, and you'll notice that it gives me something else here. So I can say, who wants revenge? Well, Luce wants revenge. Of course she wants revenge. She always wants revenge. Who else wants revenge in this book? Carolina wants revenge. So what I'm doing now is actually just starting to lay out these ideas and who's associated with them. Remember when we looked at the PowerPoint presentation and I had themes and I had murder, I had honor, I had family. Well, I'm kind of doing the same thing here. I'm actually giving some themes. Forgiveness is a theme in this book, so I want to do that. Who's going to be forgiving? We're going to find out. So who would be forgiving? Brooke's going to be forgiving. Probably May is going to be forgiving. And as I start to type, notice that all I have to do is hit enter. So now I'm going to come up here, and the quickest thing to do if I really just want to start hitting child nodes in here is I'm just going to start hitting. I can just start to go through here. So now I'm going to say, I want this to be chapter 1. One of the things you can do is you'll notice off to the side here, you'll see 1. If I don't want to type chapter 1, I can just come over here and hit enter, and it gives me chapter 1. So it's a visual. I'm going to type in chapter 2, do the same thing. I'm going to put a visual in there. You'll notice if I right mouse click, there's some different things that I can do with this. I can format it. I can insert. You'll notice if I go to insert off to the side here, I can put a hyperlink. Maybe you have a picture of a house that you're going to use. You can actually put the hyperlink to the house in there. You can add a graphic link. You can use an image. So if you wanted to go in and let's say you've got a picture of your really hot character who's a basketball player and you want to put Sue Bird as a picture in there, you can actually, if you've got that picture, you can put that image in there, Sue Bird. So that allows you to do that. And if you click on that, it's going to say where it's going to look for it. So that you have those, so some of those things hopefully will help you as you want to use this as an outline form, because we'll talk about that and how you can do that as well. Okay. So, and then we have icons. Here's all of these icons actually are the same icons that are on the right hand side. And then we have, you'll notice that when we go to save this, we'll talk more about that. So I've got chapter 1, chapter 2. I'm just going to go in and put a couple of chapters in here because I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. I'm not going to put a chapter 3 there. I'm just going to go next, chapter 4. So I've got these things over here, these concepts for my book that I want to use. So I'm going to drag this and I'm going to say I want chapter 1 to actually be the revenge chapter. I'm going to use forgiveness way down here on chapter 4. Notice when I put the chapter right here that it keeps my chapter, then it gives me my idea or my adjective or my action word for that chapter. And then it gives me, and here's where I can either change this now to say, okay, forgiveness is Brooke and May, but maybe now I want to say whose point of view am I in chapter 4. So I'm going to say my POV is Brooke. And I have May's POV. Is that the only person in here? Probably not. So now I want to go in and I'm going to add another character. I'm actually going to take this out and put it up here. So now maybe I have May's motivation in here. I have overall forgiveness, but maybe this is where May makes a confession in this chapter, in her point of view. And in Brooke's point of view, she's talking about forgiveness. So now in this point of view for May, I've said this is going to be her confession moment. So I've got chapter 4, the theme is forgiveness, or the action is forgiveness, and now I'm associating that scene with May's point of view. We've got reprisal, we can put this right here. Or if I move, say, punishment, I can move it to the top and notice that it just automatically puts it someplace else. I don't want it there, so I can just move it and put it to the front and it puts it there. So as I'm going through, I'm setting up my book. So what I did is I came over here onto this side and I just put in a child note and I said, here's my metaphors or here's my theme. You could do this if you know that you've got scenes. So we've got the warehouse. Oops. I've got the hospital. Because these are more pieces to this story as we start to build this out. I've got the car, a scene happens in the car, a scene happens in the house. So where does this revenge scene take place? Well, we're going to put it right over here. So here's my location, here's my theme, and then here are my characters who are going to be part of that. Now I can change it to POV and then I can say what's happening in those scenes. So these are really easy ways to do this. So I hope that it isn't confusing. If it is, if you have questions, feel free to talk to me. What sort of software is this and what operating system will it work on? So this is, I'm using PC. They have this software for Mac and you can download it for free. Just Google FreeMind and they will give you the links. If you don't have the links, email me and I will send you the links to this software. So does that answer your question, Anne? I hope. Okay. So I like that it seems easy to learn. It is very easy to learn. So it can be a little confusing in the beginning, but I really want you to think about, you know, this is kind of just another tool in your toolbox. So don't let it overwhelm you because it's super easy. You get this map, you right mouse click, you get this pop up here. I can change, by the way, I can change these colors if I want to. So you can change colors by, you know, formatting them. You can use blend, you can use a node color if you want, and you get this pop up. So that allows you to go in and change text, change color. There are lots and lots of options. I'm going to use the pop-up window right here because it might be easier for you to see. You can change your size of your fonts. So it's super easy to use. You can change head colors. So trust me, there are more bells and whistles than most people will ever use. And it's not really a robust software package. It's for free, and I hope that you'll check it out. It will hopefully help you tremendously when you go to use the software. So does anybody have any questions about how I structure this? I will look to see if anybody has. Oh, Q&As. Can you talk about mind mapping a series? Sure. As you write, do you go back and change the mind map if you change? Yes, I actually, so let me address Luann's question and then I'll get to yours, Michelle. Thank you. I do actually go back and modify a mind map if I change the course of a story, because my mind map is not going to be helpful for me if I'm looking at the mind map across 3 books or 4 books in a series. So when we do changes, you should probably go in and update your mind map. And that's pretty easy to do. By the way, when I go to File, Save As, I can export this, and these are my export options, okay? You'll see Open Office Writer. You'll see you can export it as a PDF, a PNG, and all of these pieces. If you export it as a PNG or a JPEG, you can drop it into a Word document, or you can drop it into your file or folder that you may have for your books, which I think is really helpful. You could also, export it as an HTML document. You can do all of this pretty easily. So once you've set up your mind map in FreeMind, you can print it out just this way. So if I just start to collapse everything, remember that these circles mean that there is a collapse, that this ball is collapsed. Or maybe I just want to collapse one piece of it, okay? So as we start to go through, oh, now it picks up the color. I can collapse pieces. I can have just certain parts open, but so this also, you can print just this piece out if you wanted, or you can print out layers. So that's why I really like this software, because it allows me to really expand on what I'm doing. That's right. Okay, so Michelle, talking about mind mapping a series. So one of the things that you want to think about when you're writing your series is, you've got a story arc for the book, and then you have a series arc. So for example, if I am looking, and I'm going to go to a new mind map so we can do this. Make this a little smaller. Hold on. Can everybody see this? I hope. So here's what a new mind map looks like when it comes in. And what I'm going to do, I want to make sure everybody can see this. Can you kids see this?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. So the default font starts at 12. So I automatically go in and I'm going to change this right here. And then I'm going to increase my view to about 150. When you're sitting down mind mapping your series, you want to know where you are in the beginning and where you are going to be, or where you want to take it. So in book 1, we're introducing the characters, we're introducing their backstories. We've got a theme. So if your theme is, exploration, and I know that sounds kind of, sounds kind of cheesy, but you're introducing your characters. So what is it in book 1 that you want to do? You're going to do the introduction. You're going to establish maybe somebody gets killed, or there's revenge, or you're in book 1 there was a lot of BDSM. There was we had we established Brooke and Luce's love story. And we had to figure out how we did that. Brooke was a reporter, and Luce is the head of a Yakuza family. And so that was book 1. Then we come in and we do book 2. Oops. Sorry about that. All right, let's try this again. So we know that in book 2 that we want there to be another book 2, and in book 2, you figure out what it is that's going to be in book 2. We don't have to introduce our characters anymore. We've already killed somebody, so we've established those characters. In book 2, we actually introduced a new bad guy and what they wanted to do. And book 2's theme was takeover. So now I'm going to put this in here. Oh, sorry. I'm going to put this as takeover. Somebody wants to take over her business. And so we established that theme. And we established another theme called traitor, because there was a traitor in the mix that left the story and moved to this new character, this new bad guy. In book 3, we set it up and it was about revenge. So we put book 3 was revenge. Okay. And then we have death in there because her father died, her grandfather dies, who she's really close to. So we had a whole issue surrounding his death and taking over and what that meant to her. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, death happens in book 2. So I'm going to go in here and say death of grandfather. And in book 3, we have death and a kidnapping. So I've got death here. So I'm laying out my scenes and kidnapping, and we have role reversal in book 3. Because now we have Brooke, roles reversed. Brooke now becomes the head basically of the family because Luce has been kidnapped. And so we have that theme. So as we start to look at our books, we look at how we are going to actually build them out. And this is what I do, and this is how I approach this. So we have book 4, and this one was all about family honor. This was, there was murder. So we've got these storylines that are starting to build out. And from there, I would also go through and start to build out characters. So does that answer your question, Michelle? I hope. So this is how easy it is to go in and set this up. Simple to download. Yes. Oh, good. I'm glad. Do I put character information in? Yeah. Okay. So great question. Thank you, Beth. So I'm going to go back to the blood honor one. So right here, you can add notes. I can edit my attributes. I can add different things in here, and I can insert images, notes, and all of that in here. So yeah, you can add stuff into your into these little pockets here. You just have to remember, though, the bigger problem is you just have to remember that you've added that stuff. So you want to make sure that you remember that there's stuff hidden in there. So here's an edit attribute. You can add some stuff here. Again, you have to remember that you've added them. Real quick, I want to show you how to insert. We're going to go to a hyperlink. I'm going to hit insert. And I'm just going to, oh, that's for my file, sorry. I'm going to go insert, hyperlink. And actually in here, you would actually go in and put www. We'll put in goldencrown.org. Hit OK. And now you'll notice that I get a little hyperlink. I get this little piece of something right there that if I click on it. Open, open, open. Oops, sorry. Well, it should have given me the edit hyperlink. Gosh darn it. Oh, shoot. Not letting me open it. Oh, it's there. Trust me. It's there. It's there. So same way with pictures, we can put pictures in here and all of that. So it's pretty simple if if you really start to look at this and work with it. It just takes time to learn everything so that you can kind of go through here and basically put it in. Super simple. It's not really the learning curve. Once you've basically learned it, goes pretty quick. So it's a tool, like a lot of tools, if you don't use them, then you have to reteach yourself how to do all of this. So again, this is just one tool for your toolbox. So I'm going to go to the next program, which is also free. So I'm going to stop sharing this and I'm going to go ahead and share the next one. This is called Free Plane. And this is a little more descriptive. It's kind of the same bells and whistles. They actually, where Free Mind doesn't give you templates, this one actually does. And so I'll show you that. I'll select New Map. And so we've got these templates here, which we've got Big Map, Buzz Map, Dracula, Beamer. Some of them are super easy to do, and then some of them you might get a little overwhelmed with. So here's just like you'll see New Mind Map. This is pretty much just like the old one we just got off of. But as I start to go through these different mind maps, let me go back. Sorry, kids. Screen. So this is our Buzz Mind Map. Go back up in here. You go through. You can pick Dracula. By the way, Dracula is just a dark background. We have a Beamer mind map, which is this monstrosity. This Beamer mind map is already preloaded. And basically what it's doing is allowing you just to go in and make some changes. So it's pretty overwhelming. It's huge, but it works very similar to FreeMind. You'll see the circle. If you click on it, it collapses it for you. You can collapse the nodes separately. So once again, if you see the circle here, it is collapsing the nodes, and so it makes it a little easier to work with. Not so much sometimes. This is overwhelming even for me. If you right mouse click, you'll see your toolbars. If you click outline view, you will get this map in an outline view. Okay, and you'll notice that it's not expanded. So if you want it expanded, you literally have to go out and expand parts and pieces of this yourself. But this is what outline view looks like. FreeMind doesn't have that. Only Free Plane has that. It's a little more, it's got a few more bells and whistles, but otherwise this is what you get. So if I unclick view, then I'm going to get this. I just click, and if I get the three-way arrows, then I can move this around. These are also editable. So the same way in FreeMind, I have to literally go in and hit edit node, okay? This one, the note box is easier. So if you wanted to put in a note, you'll see note here. And let's say I wanted to say, Luce has black hair, green eyes, and walks with a limp. I can actually go in and hit OK, and then it's going to put a note. Notice the note sign right there. Can everybody see that? Let me see if I can zoom in. Where's my view? I'm going to zoom in. So here it tells me there's a note right there. So if I just hold my mouse over, it tells me Luce has green eyes and walks with a limp. Okay. Here is another map that's got a chart associated or a grid system associated with it, and I can edit that right here. We've got inline details that we can add as part of our node, and that's what we call these. These are all nodes, so that we can add some other details. You know, there's a circus tent here. And so oops, I guess I should spell circus tent. So now I've got this example, and I've got a circus tent, and I've got an author, and all of that. So I hope this is a little easier. You'll notice we've got add a link here, and we can add it as a hyperlink. And then the hyperlink pops up, and we put in www.goldencrown.org. And notice we get that same arrow, and we can edit the node dialog box. Oops. By the way, if you click on it, sorry, if you click on it, it will actually open the hyperlink. And that's what FreeMind was supposed to do, was when you clicked on it, it was supposed to open in a hyperlink as well. And then here's our notes if we want any notes to be associated. You know, GCLS has a Writers Academy. And an awards show on, I think you guys are Saturday night. So as you can see, this one has a few more bells and whistles. Oops. And it comes in color. So if we go back to our buzz mode, this all comes in color. Oh, one of the things that I didn't talk about is the ability to move these nodes. So as you start to add nodes, you'll find yourself needing to replace or move them out of the way or realign them. And you'll notice in this program, I literally am going around the circle here. And when you get this round circle right here, you'll see the arrows, the four-way arrows. This will allow you to move your ideas around. And the reason you might want to move your ideas is because as we saw in, say, the mystery mind map, it was huge. So we needed to start moving ideas around to get them out of the way so that we could see them better. So again, this is easily doable and changeable, so we can, you know, move all this. You'll notice right here we've got an image, and if I click on this, it'll say, what image do you want to put in there? So, you know, I can put an image in there if I really wanted to. I can just grab an image and start putting whatever my image is in there. Let's say I wanted to put maybe the cover of the book or something. I can do that. And then again, we have these rounds that'll allow you to collapse those ideas so that they're a little more manageable. So, and by the way, this also works in the exact same concept of moving your ideas right here. If I come over here, I gotta move my window. I come in here and I hit enter. It will just keep adding nodes for me. So if you want to add more nodes, again, you can just go and insert them, and it's pretty easy. So does anyone have any questions for me? These are all free programs. I think somebody shared their links in the chat. This, again, is a free program. It's pretty easy to use, so hopefully you will find it as useful as I do. and it will give you a starting place, an idea to where to start for your mind mapping. So let me stop sharing my screen. It says, unfortunately, my Mac won't open it. It says, have it. I see a lot of potential in helping with timely resolutions of issues, again, to avoid fixing every problem. Yes, absolutely. I think that, you know, when you mind map your novels, and again, remember, you don't have to use a program to mind map. You can also use pen and paper. You're not just stuck with using electronics. And sometimes, for me, I start out with the pen and paper, and then I take it into FreeMind or uh, the other program, and use that to build it out. Also on Apple, they have a program called Inspiration. I believe Inspiration, I don't know, some programs come with a fee. Inspiration might be one of them. There are a couple of other programs, but they all come with a fee. So the reason I put these two out there was because they are free. And FreeMind will work with, there is an Android app that this will work with. Gosh, the name escapes me right now because I just can't think of it. So let me, someone had a question. Which of the two programs do you prefer and why? You know what, I really, FreeMind, this one, which is FreeMind, I really like the best. It doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles. Both of them work really well. Uh, they're not so robust that you get overwhelmed with the program, but I do like them both. That's why I have them both on my machine. And I wanted to give you a look at both of them. They both have pretty similar interfaces. So the user interface on FreeMind is going to be exactly the same as on FreePlane. So the interfaces really are similar. FreePlane has a few more bells and whistles than FreeMind has. So if you're looking for the easier ability to put notes and hyperlinks and all of those things, they both have that ability. So I like them both, but I probably use FreeMind more than I use anything else. Yes, both can be used across platforms. Yep. So how about questions? We have some time for questions. So my finish PowerPoint. Let me go through and we'll just kind of recap a little bit, if that's okay. Does anybody want to see any particular mind map, especially of the larger mind maps, which can be a tad overwhelming? If anybody wants to see any particular mind map, I'm happy to do that. Because I know we kind of went through them a little fast. At least I felt it was a little fast. I think some of you might feel it's a little fast. Nothing? Come on, kids, we gotta have some questions. Okay, so you can check out my latest book, which is Blood Honor, and the whole series is on Kindle Unlimited right now for free. So you can check the whole 4-book series out and look at what and see what I was talking about when I was talking about how to lay out your mind map. And do I have mind map for mystery? Let me look in my vault and see if I have a mind map for mystery. I thought I did actually. So let me go in. Boom, boom, boom. I have a thriller, steampunk, sci-fi, and romance are the 4 big ones that I have. So unfortunately, I do not have the mystery mind map. So I'm sorry. I wish I did. Oh, and I have a Regency mind map too. So if anybody wants any of those, please let me know, and I'm happy to share. Ray, did you want to see the Sci-Fi Mind Map again? Is that why you say sci-fi? Okay, let me go ahead and I'll pull that up for you so you can see the Sci-Fi Mind Map, because it kind of is mind-blowing, really mind-blowing. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Sci-Fi Mind Map. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Can you see that? So there's the Sci-Fi Mind Map. If you need me to show you, if you need me to enlarge it, I'll enlarge it a little bit here. It cuts off a little bit at the top, so I can always move it down now if you need me to. Does that help? So Janice, I'm sorry, Michelle, on the mystery romance one, I do have a mind map for romance, so we can, I can share that with you. The mystery one, basically what you would end up doing is putting like mystery and romance together. So you would actually look at the mystery mind map and the romance mind map and make an amalgamation of those two. So I would think that you would want to, you know, put those together. You know, Beth, new genres are coming out all the time. You know, somebody jokingly said they're writing an Amish goth book. I thought, okay, I could see that if that's, you know, where your interests lie. So I don't think it's unrealistic that you could do a mashing of several genres using a mind map. You just want to make sure that when you're doing your mind maps, that you're documenting everything and that you're adhering to whatever genre, both of those genres you're making. So I think that's probably the harder part. Yes, I can show the romance mind map. Are you using that tool? And then, oh, yes. So McGee, you can use the mind map as a brainstorming tool and then plot it out. The programs have the ability to export this as an outline. So that's one of the nice things about the when you're setting up your novel and you've got chapters and you've got all of that, as we did, excuse me. When we go to lay out the chapters and you're putting your action words in there and point of views and your scenes, you can actually export those out as outlines. So, oh, happy to help Beth for the sci-fi. Let's see, can I show romance again? Yes, I will show you romance again. Let's see, have editors recommended moving the order of chapters? And if yes, how easy is it to reorder? Yeah, actually, it's pretty easy to reorder the chapters in the order, because like I showed you before, let me show the romance mind map really quick so everybody can see that. Let me go ahead and open that. So I'm going to change my screen. Oh, science fiction, sorry, wrong screen. Let me try one more time. I think this is our romance. So here's your romance. Depending on, you know, hero over here, you can obviously change that to heroine, or you can change it to gender neutral. So a lot of these things, remember, for those of you who are writing gender neutral books, this is easy to go in and, you know, if you're looking at this, change those to more gender neutral pronouns or gender neutral ideas as well. So you'll see marriage, wedding, heroine, hero, contemporary, harem romance, which by the way, harem romance seems to be really popular right now. So if you have I don't mean to pick on Amish, but you know, Amish harems, I guess, I don't know. So I think that's pretty easy. Somebody else had another question. I'm sorry, I want to make sure I get to it. Yes, have editors recommend moving the order of chapters? Actually, in from personal experience, I can tell you in Blood Honor, we literally, I sat down with my editor, who is absolutely amazing, and we had a conversation, a phone conversation about reordering some chapters because we had a problem with the way one chapter would work out. And so I'm going to go ahead and show my screen again so that you can see that. So if I'm in my book here and I want to move chapter 1 to chapter 2, one of the things that you're going to do is you can obviously change the order by moving the chapter. So notice that now I've got chapter 2 down here and chapter 3 is up here. You just have to remember to reorder your chapters. So if I'm going to make this a chapter, reorder it. Sometimes I don't even put chapter numbers on here just because it's the same way when I write a romance. I mean, write a novel. I don't put any chapter numbers in the novel until we get to the very end of it all, because sometimes if you put the chapter numbers in there first and then you do have to reorder, you have to remember to go in and change every stinking chapter after that. So for me, and my editor will attest to this, I don't put chapter numbers on my stuff. Now I put the prologue, or if I have an epilogue, I'll put those in there. But normally my manuscript starts off with no chapters. And so it makes it a little easier to move it around. Sure. So let me say this, you know, a lot of people are writing formulaic romances or formulaic horror, paranormal. It's up to you to really try and change what the stakes are for those characters, what the idea of where they meet or how they meet. You know, if you have a meeting because, you know, somebody's sled breaks down on the frozen tundra and she just happens to be driving by on her snowmobile, that's a different idea. Remember, romance is romance. So there's a formula there. Some people ascribe to that formula, and there's nothing wrong with that. Girl meets girl, girl loses girl, girl gets girl back, girl finds out girl's cheating with, I don't know. I think it's really up to the writer to make it different. I mean, there are pitfalls and problems with everything, but I think that if you're looking at, really working to make sure you're not making a cookie cutter mistake, then you won't. But that's just my opinion. If you haven't taken my class on Power Up Your Writing, I really recommend it because it starts looking at your novel from the point of using verbs and action words to assign, you're going to use one action word or one verb to assign to a manuscript. And then from there, you're going to let those action words and verbs move forward and move your writing forward, because oftentimes we get to that saggy middle and we're stuck. But if you are using your verbs and your actions really well, you're going to propel yourself through the story. And again, that comes at the beginning of your book, not at the end, not in the middle. That is all pre-planning, just like you're going to pre-plan using your mind maps. So you're going to sit down and you're going to, make it an exercise, break out all your colored pencils, go to, pictures and cut out pictures or print pictures and kind of, get those creative juices flowing so that your manuscript really starts to grow. And I hope you'll use all of these pieces to really, deepen your novel. Because if you're not looking at say, a character level mind map and saying, okay, what are the stakes for this character? What's really going to happen if she cheats on Brooke? Well, that depends on how you've laid Brooke out. Is Brooke a pushover? Is she the easy girl? Is she the doormat? How have you made Brooke, versus your other character? So these are ways that when you're putting these classes together, when you're looking at how to build your novel, you're taking all of those pieces into consideration. I hope that helps. I do. Oh, the last of my slideshow is pretty easy. So I hope you'll check out my latest book, Blood Honor. Again, it's on Kindle Unlimited. And then let me see, follow me. Thanks for coming, you guys. You guys have been absolutely fun and amazing. I really appreciate the feedback. You can email me at sapphirebooks.com, Isabella at Sapphire Books, and I'll be happy to send you the handout for this class. So I'm happy to do that. So let me put my email address. And if you want to register, or if you want to be notified when I do my other classes, I do an Instagram class, working with Instagram, building grids and selling your books, setting your books up, your stories up. We do Power Up Your Writing. We do this class and several other classes that I do, how to work with a writing coach. And then a lot of these, we present these at the LCLC in Palm Springs in October. So we'd love to have you kids come and hang out at the swimming pool, eat, drink, and be merry. So thank you, everybody. Did I get everybody's questions? Let me see. Oh, send me an email if you want to take how to power up your writing, send me an email. And I'm happy to, we're going to be offering that class again, so let me know. And I would be happy to add you to the class. I think I am just about at my time limit, Maria.
Yep. Well, thank you so much. It was so wonderful to have you here, Isabella. We definitely learned so much. I had no idea that you could, go into that much depth with the mind mapping and mapping out the novel. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
I also want to thank you, audience. Thank you, attendees. This is GCLS chiming in to say that it's been just such a great learning lesson here. And we appreciate all of the incoming questions in the chat. And just a reminder that there are still more virtual sessions to come over the weekend. We'll have another masterclass that kicks off tomorrow at 10 a.m. with Radcliffe tomorrow, that's Eastern time. More panels to follow both on Saturday and Sunday. So please check out the schedule on our website at, again, www.goldencrown.org, where you'll also be able to see that we have many author readings available on the website too. So this does bring our session to an end. Thank you once again, Isabella, and thank you to everyone here.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.